Barsabbas and Matthias were two disciples considered for the position of the 12th Apostle to replace Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus. Barsabbas, also known as Joseph Barsabbas or Joseph Justus, he is described as a close follower of Jesus, met the criteria for the apostleship having been with Jesus from the beginning of his ministry. Matthias was chosen by casting lots to replace Judas as the 12th Apostle. His role after this selection is not extensively documented in the Bible. The selection process. The apostles gathered to choose a replacement for Judas. Two qualified candidates were considered: Joseph Barsabbas and Matthias. They prayed and cast lots, which was a method of divine decision-making common in biblical times. Matthias was chosen as described in Acts chapter 1 verses 12 through 26. With Judas having betrayed Christ and then committing suicide, the 11 remaining disciples decided to replace Judas with a new 12th apostle, Acts chapter 1 verse 16 through 20. The requirements were that the man had to have been with them the entire time of Jesus' ministry, and to have been a witness of the resurrection and ascension, Acts chapter 1 verse 21 through 22. The 11 disciples proposed two men, Joseph called Barsabbas, possibly the same person as Barnabas, and Matthias, Acts chapter 1 verse 23. The 11 disciples then prayed for the Lord's direction, Acts chapter 1 verse 24 and 25, and then cast lots, and the lot fell to Matthias, Acts chapter 1 verse 26. But was this the Lord's choice? Some propose that Paul, not Matthias, was God's choice for the 12th apostle. They argue that Jesus had told the apostles to wait for the coming of the Holy Spirit, Acts chapter 1 verse 8, and that casting lots is not how the disciples should have made the decision. They also point out that Matthias is never again mentioned in the New Testament, while Paul obviously became very prominent in the early Christian church. So, are they correct that Paul, not Matthias, was God's choice to be Judas's replacement as the 12th apostle? The New Testament nowhere condones or condemns the way the apostles made the decision in Acts chapter 1. Casting lots was a biblically allowed method of making a decision. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 33. And while Matthias is never again mentioned in the New Testament, the same can be said for most of the other 11 apostles. Church history records that Matthias died as a martyr for Christ, as did all of the other apostles, except John. Yes, Paul was definitely more prominent than Matthias, but Paul was more prominent than any of the other apostles, except for perhaps Peter and John. Also, Paul would not have been qualified based on the apostles' criteria, Acts chapter 1 verses 21 and 22. So, a conclusive biblical case cannot be made for the 11 apostles' choice of Matthias being invalid. Further, God is sovereign. If it was not his sovereign will for Matthias to be chosen, Matthias would not have been chosen. It could be argued that while it was God's sovereign will, what he ordained for Matthias to be chosen, it was God's perfect will, what he desired, for the apostles to wait for Paul. This would be pure speculation, as again the Bible nowhere condemns Matthias being chosen for the 12th apostle. So what name will be written on the 12th foundation in the heavenly Jerusalem as stated in Revelation chapter 21 verse 14? The Bible does not explicitly say, but it likely will be Matthias. Ultimately, though, we will have to wait to find out. It's important to note that while Barsabbas was not chosen as an apostle, he was clearly a respected member of the early Christian community. His name appears only once in the Bible, but his story highlights the importance of discipleship and the divine selection of leaders in the early church. Please like and subscribe to help grow this channel.